In this video I will go over some interviewing basics for social science research. The goal in open-ended interviews is to explore a topic openly and to allow interviewees to express their opinions and ideas in their own words. Although the interviewer typically begins with some basic ideas about what the interview will cover, the interviewee's responses shape the interview. In that sense, each interview is tailored to the person being interviewed. This allows for a much freer exchange of information between interviewer and interviewee. The interviewer has to listen carefully to the participant's responses and to follow his or her lead. To develop trust, you'll need to develop a rapport. Rather than jumping into your list of questions right off the bat, be sure to greet your interviewee cordially and make a bit of small talk to create a friendly atmosphere.
Hi, how are you? Please come in.
Hi. Thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me. You have a lovely home.
Thank you. I have lived here most of my life. Now, what did you want to ask me about?
It doesn't make sense to ask people about things they can't answer, and some kinds of questions will make for more productive interviews than others. The following are some general topics that work well in interviews: their experiences or behaviors, their opinions, their feelings, their factual knowledge, their personal background. For example, say you're interviewing an individual about their life experiences, and you want to ask them about dating or marital life. You might ask, how was dating and marriage viewed when you were a teenager or young adult? You can then follow up with these types of probing questions. Can you give me an example of that? Can you tell me more about that? How do you think others your age felt about it? How do you think this is or was different from your children's or parents' generation? In-depth interviewing is to explore the reality of those you're researching. There are a few things you need to consider when developing your interview questions. You need to make sure that the questions make sense to your participants and are phrased in language that is appropriate for them. Beginning researchers often try to use relatively formal language, which looks good on paper but sounds awkward in speech. It's a good idea to try out your questions on a friend or even just out loud to yourself to see how they sound. Try not to ask too many questions that can be answered by a simple yes or no, because they can bring the conversation to a halt. For example, do you feel dating is different now than it was when you were younger? This could easily result in a yes or no answer.
Yes, I do.
Dichotomous questions can also be leading. Be wary of questions that begin with, don't you think? Or, wouldn't you agree? In-depth interviews require you to think on your feet. Consider some of the following probes to use as follow-up questions. What happened? When did something happen? Who else was there? What was that like for you? Can you tell me a little bit more about it? Finally, I usually like to ask if there is anything they want to add. Now that you have a few tools, it is time to get going on your interview. Bye-bye.